Good afternoon. It's 3:30. We're going to start this out on time. This is our second annual in the industry panel. We added on another component to the panel this year, which is in conjunction with the 40 under 40, where we're going to be doing alumni and mentorship. So my big brother Brandon reached out to me. So as a chairperson for the mentorship component for 40 under 40, and that's why we added on a longer aspect to the panel, where we have two sessions broken out, one now and then another an hour from now, where we're going to have different panelists come in and speak. Another set are going to come in and speak as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try to work some magic out on that stage to get some people to come out and see where that goes. But I just want to introduce myself. My name is Yancy Merchant. I'm a 2005 graduate from Hampton University with a business management degree. Sharonda Lawson is not here right now. Me and her started this panel last year. She's a 2006 graduate from Atlanta, Georgia. And she's an entertainment lawyer, so she's busy doing lawyer things this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Brandon and Sianni, and I'll be right back.
Amazing.
Just like Yancy says, my name is Brandon. So I'm part of the 40 under 40 mentorship committee. So as part of the mentorship committee, one thing we wanted to do was have a panel and have a way for alumni to come back, engage the students, and really look for this to be something that's enduring for years on. One thing we noticed within our industry is, Hampton graduates are successful in our industries. But we really have to look at how we're facilitate a way for Hampton graduates to come back and get back within our industries to students directly here on campus. So one thing we're looking to do, this is really the initial start, but one thing we're looking to do is we're working in conjunction with the Office of Career Affairs in establishing a university mentorship program. And there are a lot of universities that have this program, that have similar programs. Hampton does not. That way we can pair, actually be a program, we pair a mentor that's out, that's been successful in their field with a mentee in the university. This is really the start of that. So I'm just trying to push that going ahead. So appreciate it. Make sure you guys ask plenty of questions. And really I want to thank the panelists. Homecoming is tough. You come back for homecoming, but you also volunteer your time. So thank you for volunteering your time to come here. You could be doing a whole lot of other things, but maybe drinks don't look as clear as that. But we thank you for your time and look forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you. So hello everybody, my name is Sianni Caballo. I'm hosting this event today with Yancy. Today we have our law panel, business panel. We have doctors, just amazing people. Some of my classmates, some of my dear friends. So I'm looking forward to jumping straight into it. I am a graduate of the 17 class. Then I went on to New York City and got my master's degree up there. And now I'm back here to, make sure that our alumni get paired with, you all, or even students that are still on campus, have someone to reach out to, learn from, and grow with. So without further ado, let's jump into our first question. What class are you guys from, so we can kind of gauge it out?
QT5.
QT5, 05?
02.
02?
02.
07?
01.
01?
Onyx 10.
17? Hello, classmates. How are you?
That's 04. QT5 is 04 for y'all that don't know.
Yes. Okay, so as we're going through, if you guys want to give you a quick 30-second introduction of yourselves, that would be awesome, just so our audience can get to know you all as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carrington Carter, class of 2005, Onyx 6. Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry. Afterwards, I got my MBA in marketing at the University of Pittsburgh. After working for 10 years in pharmaceutical marketing, I transitioned into being a full-time real estate investor and serial entrepreneur. So in total, I own and manage a $7 million portfolio in about 5 different states and 2 countries.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Lash. I am from 02 Onyx 5. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. After graduating from Hampton with a chemistry degree, I went on to NC State and got a PhD in chemistry. chemistry. I have started, owned, and sold a hair product line. I also work at the National Institute of Health. Very passionate about healthcare and just improving the lives of our people.
May it please the court. I am Jaaye Person-lynn, an abolitionist from the class of 2004, quintessence 5. I make my money as a criminal defense and civil rights attorney. Sometimes we hustle on the side with Paul. What's going on, Paul? All right, brother. But I just love Hampton University. It gave me a place that I could be myself without any other concerns about race, which is a wonderful thing. I'm happy to be back sharing my experiences fighting in this fight to end slavery in 2019.
Hi, my name is Stanley L, class of 2002, Onyx 5. I was a student athlete while here at Hampton, majored in electrical engineering while playing college football here. Since then, worked in engineering for 17 years, gotten into real estate, entrepreneurship with several different areas of investing, franchise companies, and also an actor. So you've seen me in Black Panther, that was me. So 40 under 40 with the rest of these folks up here. So look forward to talk to everybody today.
Everybody, Brandon Jones, 05013. I was a student athlete here for track and field and also studied computer and electrical engineering with a computer science minor. While I was, after I finished, I started running professionally for track and field. I ran in the 2016 Olympics, and I still continue to train now towards the 2020 Olympics. And while I'm not training, I am a cloud data engineer. So I basically work on servers, virtual machines, and databases, and help to migrate data and audit my own companies. That's all
My name is Lavonne Idolette. I was a track and field athlete here as well, a 2012 Olympian. I'm a lawyer by trade, and I have an MBA from the University of Miami. I own a mortgage company, and I advise professional athletes and entertainers on commercial real estate and business acquisitions.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany L. Burgess from class of 2001 from QP4. While I was here at Hampton, I majored in biology, was a biology pre-med major, and then went to Emory and got my MPH. By day, through Deloitte, I'm at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, so CDC in Atlanta. So I do chronic disease prevention. I used to do HIV and AIDS. By night, I'm a writer. So I've written children's books, written for Huffington Post, Blavity. I've written a screenplay for the short film Flip that's making its rounds. I just got back from Orlando Film Festival this morning. It was last night. And I have now taken up acting, but also I'm a co-producer and some things. So.
Well, I did not want to come after you guys, but I'm going to do it anyway. So my name is Bria Henry. I graduated from Hampton University in spring 17. While I was here, I was actively involved in student government. I was the senior class president. I joined the Gamma Iota chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I graduated and I accepted an internship with the New York City Police Department for the police commissioner. And after my internship, I was offered a full-time offer as a senior project analyst for the police commissioner. And I work on several projects such as body-worn camera initiatives, the continuous improvement of police officers, and bridging the gap between police officers and individuals in the street. By day, that's what I do, and by night, I like to mentor. So I started a mentorship program called Be Smart Girls Mentorship Program in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm trying to find a way to allow my job to change the reality of what we see daily. So I understand that I'm a young African-American female, and I feel like having a seat at the table allows me to create my own table, and I'm gonna do that by any means necessary.
Amazing. So it sounds like you guys all have your standard jobs, but you also have things that you're passionate about, you know, after the job ends, or even things that you're doing on the side, which is definitely amazing. So is it fair to say, because this is something that I've noticed, is that college not only prepares you to be specialized in a field, but also prepares you to be entrepreneurs. So how, in your eyes, has Hampton prepared you for your careers now in the real world? Did it really help? Did it set you back? Give us your honest answer. We would like to know.
Please be honest with us.
It laid the foundation. It gave me for me personally, it gave me the confidence to know that if I'm on the side of justice, I'm on the side of right, I'm doing my work, I'll have a whole institution supporting me. And that's what it, for me, who goes into courts, what nothing prepared me for was the psychological aspect of going into court every day and being of the one demographic, black men who were defendants more than anything else. You never see, it's rare, you'll see more black men who are not defendants in a courtroom than black men who are defendants. So that psychologically, messed me up as I deal with it, as I go to jail and actually physically see black men in chains on some slavery stuff. But that strength to push forward, and that charge from Dr. Harvey at graduation to fight racism wherever it rears its ugly head is what gave me the foundation. But the skill doing the work, writing that thesis as a poli-sci major,
Talk about it.
Yeah, that laid the foundation, and I'm happy I had to do, because now I got motion and stuff.
Right. Yes. Okay, anybody else want to go for that?
I can speak to it. It also helped in the time management of it, especially on the student athlete side of it. Once you get out of the athletic realm and you realize how much of your time you have back to kind of do other things, that's what you do. You find those other things besides that career that you got to give in to do, but what your passions are, to get behind those passions and put that effort and energy out there. And what I always say is, but you've already mastered the art of being kind of well-rounded in multiple areas. So if you have a passion, don't let that die. Continue to go after those passions and use everything about yourself that you want to, so that you can get full fulfillment out of yourself. You owe that to yourself. So that's kind of what you get out of even being in this Hampton space and learning that, is how to manage that time so that you can do that and still have a life, still be comfortable financially and all the other jazz. So that was important for me.
So what I got out of college for sure was that sometimes people can see something in you that you don't see in yourself. Because I came to college as a biology pre-med major because I wanted to be a dermatologist since I was 5. And I was in a business law class. Dr. Whitaker teaches it just like law school. And so I happened to get the highest grade on the test. He said, "You should go to law school." And I'm like, I'm gonna get on. And he's like, "No, you should go to law school and you should also get an MBA because it'll help you in business." And I still was tabling it, but his belief made me take a second thought of it, because right after school, I became a professional athlete. I really was like, I don't really need no fallback plans. I'm about to be rich. But if you know anything about track and field, that's not true. But his belief pushed me in a direction where I ended up in law school and I loved it. I thought it was the most fun I've ever had. And had it not been for professors that believed in my ability and the way I thought naturally, then I wouldn't have ended up there.
I definitely agree with you all, and I've realized now that even things like the Hampton runaround or having to do crazy things that seem out of pocket for a college student to have to do, like I said, the Hampton runaround, or having to go who knows where to get something done, that stuff has helped me as an entrepreneur today, to taught me like not to give up, to if I have a problem, to find another way around it. Because at Hampton, a lot of us, if we have a challenge, it's not a closed door, it's just how can we work around that.
Right.
Okay, Jaaye. And what's your favorite part about the work that you do? Maybe somebody haven't heard from? Yeah.
Travel.
Banners over here.
The main thing, the one thing I really love about it, outside of pretty much dying in practice every day, is the benefit is I've been to a lot of different countries, seen a lot of cultures, interacted with a lot of different people, and I've seen like their mindset towards their training or their regimen, what they may do outside of their competition schedule, and it gives you, as an athlete, another mindset. Like, okay, so if they're doing this, and they're doing that much better than me, or they may be at a different level, you're like, okay, well, what can I do more to get to that level? So seeing these people in these different countries and the struggles they may go through or the successes they may have had, it's kind of been like an amazing thing. Like I know for a fact, if I didn't run track or continue this, I know I wouldn't have gone to these countries. That's not something that crossed my mind growing up, or being in college. All I thought about was like, I'm kind of fast, I can jump a little bit. Like, let me go ahead and ride this for a while until I figure out what I want to do. And I mean, that's been amazing to have so far. And it has actually driven me to keep going, throughout of any injuries or surgery and stuff like that. It's just been like, all right, I'm not done yet. I still got things I want to do.
So would you say that traveling outside of the country has kind of allowed you to open up your mind a little bit more?
Way more.
And caused you to think differently? Lavonne and I actually met in Australia, so it's really cool to see her now. Like, just meeting her over there is like, it taught me like, Black people can go anywhere. We can do anything we want to do. So I definitely encourage everybody to travel more, because Hampton is small. Like, the world is so much bigger, and your thumbprint can be on everywhere.
Also, as a science major, we have the opportunity, back then, to go to Africa. So I was a chemistry major, and first and second year started thinking, and I don't want to continue on with chemistry, this is too hard. But there was a program that allowed chemistry majors to go to Kenya and do research over there. And so just being able to see, your research being, really implement, being able to, make changes in an area, that changed my ideals on chemistry, and I just kept on going from there. So to take advantage of the opportunities that are there for you to do, even at Hampton, you can travel as well.
I'll touch on that question as well. I guess part of what I enjoy is just the breadth of experiences that I can have, as a serial entrepreneur across different businesses. So, one day I might be dealing in the residential real estate world, then commercial real estate. We also own vacation rental homes, so there's that travel and hospitality and that customer service component. Also, as an entrepreneur, you wear many hats. So you may be doing marketing one day finance, one day accounting, sometimes projections. We also have investors, so there's investor relations and dealing with different people and opinions. So I would say that's what I really enjoy most, is just the variety and being able to kind of control my time and spend it how I think is best for what we're trying to do.
So I think first of all, I never imagined that I'd be at the job that I'm at right now, ever. I just want to say that. But I think the thing that I love the most is when I sit at the table with executives and people who are way more established than myself. I bring something to the table that no one else can. My age is something different. I'm a female, that's different, and I'm also the only person of color in most conference rooms. So Hampton has provided me with a confidence that most people don't see on a daily basis, especially where I work. So I love being able to come in the room and speak with executives and chiefs and say, nobody is gonna understand that, or nobody wants to see that. And sometimes they're looking at me like, who do you think you are? Actually, I'm a Hampton alum. And actually, I know something, you know what I mean? And I love being able to come to the table, and at first I come, I sit, I analyze, and I think strategically, because I feel like the smartest people in the room are the ones that don't say much at all anyway. So I analyze the situations and I think about them. And then when it comes to me, I'm like, well, you know what? And I add a different perspective. So I love the fact that Hampton has allowed me to step outside of my comfort zone in several different occasions. For example, SLP, in Delta, like so many different things where you have to think outside of the box. You have to create things that other people are not don't normally see, and it just makes me feel great that people are surprised. You know, like most people go to Ivy Leagues and I go to Hampton and I'm proud of it, and you're gonna see me and I have something to say. So that's the best thing about my job, just bringing a different perspective and being innovative in every situation.
The best part, I'd say, about my job has been seeing the light spark onto my clients. So like, although I became a professional athlete, I never really looked at myself as an athlete. I'm a person, and I was smart. I so happened to be faster than y'all, and it all kind of materialized. And so, in the education component, and then getting into the investment, they received the first check, and then the light switch saying like, wait a minute, I don't have to keep playing if I don't want to. I know how to make money some other way. It's like the most rewarding feeling, because the worst feeling I ever felt was like I didn't have a choice about what I was doing. And like, if I don't win this race, I might not be able to pay my rent, or you know what I'm saying? And so seeing and having the ability to give people that feeling has been very rewarding.
For me, and I'll touch on, you talked about what Hampton created for us. I came here, it was a biology, like I said, biology major, and I'd gotten a presidential scholarship, and so Hampton was going to be where I was going. Whether I got into other schools, my parents were like, oh, well, there it is, you're going to Virginia. And so I pledged my sophomore year. And for me, that created a lifelong sisterhood, and I have a group of women who are always supporting me. So when the book comes out, I don't have to, the marketing's there. And, I have a line sister or a big sister, somebody, oh, you want this in essence, you'll get it there. You know what I mean? And like, that's all because I was placed here, which I do believe was God ordained. And then after pledging, I had that built-in network. And as a writer, I have a voice as a Black woman. And I feel like I represent Black women, I represent people of color in general, Black girls. So that's what I get as the writing part. That's the joy I get, being able to have a voice and tell a story and have it be heard on a broader level.
Network is everything.
Yeah, network is everything.
So for those who have decided to go on past Hampton and get graduate degrees or PhDs, what were you looking for in your program, and what kind of led you to that? How did you know your next school was the right choice for you? We can maybe have like 3. How many? Okay.
I'll say, I only applied to Howard Law. It was either that or the Peace Corps. But I knew, I was a male. I had like a 153 or 154 on the LSAT. I had like a 3.5 GPA. So I knew when I checked like their averages, I knew I was above that. So I knew I was getting in. And I didn't want to go anywhere else. I only applied to 3 colleges. The only reason I applied to Cal State Northridge and USC, because like my mama made me. But I didn't fill out those applications. The only application I filled out was Hampton University. So I knew where I was going. But the reason I was going, I wanted to be educated by Black people in a space for Black people. I wanted to go somewhere that has some prestige. As much as we don't like Howard this weekend, that network is pretty expansive, and that name goes pretty far. And then I tell people like Hampton, oh yeah, they like a better Howard, and then that's how they get it. But that going to Howard Law, we're Thurgood Marshall when Charles Hamilton Houston was the dean there. And these are people who set the tone in the legal profession for what I wanted to do. I do criminal justice, criminal defense and civil rights. So I was going specifically for that reason, to follow in that tradition.
Okay. Very nice.
I chose the University of Miami because I had to get out of here. I'm from here. I went to high school here.
Oh, yes.
I was like, I've got to go. Because I could have stayed and got an MBA here, and I was like, gotta go. And then I chose to go to Florida A&M to law school because I had about enough of the white teachers.
Oh.
But the funny thing is, I applied there because it said most diverse law school. And I got there, and the majority of my classmates were middle-aged white men. And I was like, I'm trying to get the low cost law school. So it wasn't as diverse as I expected it to be. So go to black law schools because they're not as diverse as they should be. Or professional school in general. So I enjoyed it, but that was the reason. I was like, when I was at the University of Miami, I was very much a minority in all aspects. Because I'm also Dominican, but Cubans don't want to be Dominicans and they don't like us so much. So
The Cubans were worse. I graduated from Texas.
And
You American.
but no, so it's very separatist in that way, and the types of things that people think they can haze you with. I'm glad I didn't go for undergrad because at 18 I would have gotten in a fight. At 21 I was like, oh, I see you trying to play with me. A whole different ballgame. So yeah, that's what made me go back to FAM, and I loved that. I had a great experience.
I went to Emory, and I loved Emory. It was an amazing experience. It's an amazing school, and I like being, being able to represent Hampton and be one of, I think, 10 blacks in that program, in my master's program. My focus was health policy and management. At the time, I was thinking I was still just going to med school, and I took joy and pride being beside a few of my classmates who were like, I went to Princeton and I went to Harvard, and it was like, where'd you go, Tiffany? Hampton City, no. I went to Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, and clearly we're in the same program, so I was well prepared for the GRE as well. So, and like I said, I love Emory. It was a great experience. I live in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. But for me, HBCU was the choice. I was going to go to HBCU undergrad, but I always said I would be open to going to a PWI for my graduate degree. So I have no complaints.
I tell students that all the time that I'm working with, whether they're choosing between an HBCU or an Ivy League or just a normal public school, and I say, get your HBCU experience while you're in undergrad, and then get your master's elsewhere if that's what you want to do, so you can really have fun. Going to grad school, it's a different experience because you're not a student, quote unquote, anymore. You're supposed to be a working adult, and you can't really. They don't tell you about anything going on campus, so you're really excluded. But yeah, that's the thing. So since we have kind of an older crowd here, if you wanted to start. Since we do have an older crowd versus the students, you guys aren't students anymore. You guys aren't students, right? That's what I was referring to. I'm not a student, so I'm in the older crowd too. So since we don't have any students in here, as I would say, we have one student here. Most of us are alum. What can you tell somebody that's well into their career now that wants to start a business and doesn't really know how to do that with their 9 to 5? How can you tell someone that they may be director, they may be entry level? It doesn't matter. How can you give them those tools so that they can go home and start that business and not get burned out per se?
Yeah, so I'll start with that. I would say first, do some internal reflections and really try to figure out what you're passionate about, what you enjoy, what you love doing, and try a couple of different things so that you can really hone in on what you enjoy doing. So start there. Secondly, I think overall in our communities, financial literacy is not where it should be. So I think people should, there's some books out there, there's some resources to improve your financial literacy, because there's a lot of things you can do with your 9 to 5 income that can help propel you to launch and sustain your business. But in order to do that, you have to have financial literacy.
Are there some books you recommend?
Yes. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good starter. Your Money or Your Life is a good one. The Millionaire Next Door. I would say the basic principles are live below your means, not in your means, live below your means, especially if you're thinking of launching a business, it's even more important. Live below your means. Index funds. Index fund is a type of mutual fund that mirrors the performance of the stock market. So invest in low-cost index funds. And then figure out other ways to, kind of reduce your expenses. Get a roommate, maybe even move back home for a year or two.
What about somebody with a family that can't get a roommate?
Somebody with a family, again, so if it's a one-income household, or if it's a two-income household, if it's a two-income household, again, leveraging the collective income, there are things that you can do together that can help you create the income in order to launch the businesses. I don't have kids, so I can't opine on kids. So I know they take a significant undertaking and are a big responsibility. But so live below your means, finances right, discover your passion, and then also put the work in. You gotta put the work in. What you put in is what you get out. So it's gonna be late nights, it's gonna be weekends, it's gonna be early mornings. Yeah. What I was saying, about 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay. So Bria and Brandon, being that I know like a lot about your careers, and I know you have a mentoring service, what do you do when you go home? Are you feeding that business when you go home, or are you crashing? Are you sleeping? And yourself, since you do have a family, how are you able to balance your family, running, and your career?
No sleep.
No
It's just a game plan. Like, usually this is me and my daughter. Most of the time it's like at night I just plan out what's going on for the day. Usual routine is wake up 4 or 5 in the morning, get ready for daycare. When season starts, I got 6 a.m. practice, so drop her off, get to practice by 6 a.m. I know how long practice is gonna go. And the recovery nap I'm gonna need after practice, I know I'm gonna need like a good hour. So it's just planned out. And luckily the job that I have now, since I'm an engineer, it's not really a clock-in type job, as long as I can do the projects I'm assigned and basically just show the codes that I create or help out in some way and attend the meetings. My boss is pretty lenient with that, so it's more so just planning out the day. It's not as long as there's always going to be some type of deviation of able to kick in, but for the most part, if you can plan out your day, even with the single parent household, you can kind of play it out like that. And for traveling, she comes with me. Like I try to take her to every track that I have. Usually when I go, I have someone there who can sit here where I compete. And luckily I got a pretty self-sufficient, she's 3, I got a pretty self-sufficient child though, so she doesn't go if I sit down to go warm up, she gonna sit there and be like, oh, daddy warming up, I'm gonna chill right here. And if I'm competing, I jump, and when I'm doing my jump, she's at the pit with me, so, and she's watching me, she'll be right here and she's like this, and I'll jump and I'll just go back and sit with her. And somehow she got something to say, but it's just more so, Daddy, you need to do this. So it's she's engaged. Yeah, she's engaged in what's going on. So but I take her with me, even whether it's in state, and I take her sometimes to my meets overseas because she has her own passport, so get her stamps while she can. But yeah, you just gotta plan it out. You just gotta know that hey, she's a part of your journey. She, your child is now. That's you. That's what you gotta do. You gotta work with what you got. But yeah, no sleep. You can't sleep. 1 hour nap between practices.
Sleep is not allowed, but never. It might sound crazy, but for me, in order to keep everything up together, I have to keep a clean environment. This might sound like the craziest thing ever, but for me, if my area is a mess, if my mind is a mess, I cannot function at all. I will not be able to function. So the first thing for me is to clear my mind of all negative thoughts, to keep a clean space and a clean area and a clean mind, clean friends, all of that. Everything around me has to be in a good space. That's number one. To even continue on a work plan, to continue keeping my mentorship going, I have to be in a good space. And I want to speak to, because I know a lot of people are saying you have to just work at it, you have to just work at it. Depression comes, anxiety comes, things happen and then they fail. I've tried things several times and it did not work. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. It's okay to have things fail. It's okay to have things not work out. People are going to constantly ask you, what happened to that business you think you wanted to start? And you're like, oh, you have to remind me again. You know what I mean? I know I was supposed to start that. I don't need you to remind me. Thank you. But it's up to you to tell yourself, I'm in this state, I'm in this anxiety place, and then okay, snap out of it. Like, you have to get yourself up and keep pushing. So that's what I do. Some days I have off days. I'm not gonna pretend like it's always great, because it's not. I get upset sometimes. I'm like, wow, I really wanted this to happen a certain way, and it doesn't. And then I have to tell myself, you're not in control of life. You can only control your own actions. Other things you cannot control. So I try to control the things that I can control within myself as much as possible, and the rest I just let God take care of it. So for me, it's just keeping yourself level-headed, level-minded in everything. Your relationships and all of those things play a role in maintaining the business, because when one thing is off in your personal life, it trickles down to every single other thing. So just knowing what's important and cutting off the things that aren't. And I feel like the mentorship is pretty successful. And even days when I'm like, oh, I wish I could have did that better, I write it down. I walk everywhere with my planner. I invest in myself. I go nowhere without my iPad. I have 2 phones. Like, I just keep myself going. I keep myself busy, so that even if I feel like it's a day that I'm slipping, I'm like, all right, I have all of this to remind me, you gotta get back to work. So, you're gonna have off days, and just keep at it, because at the end of the day, if it's your passion, if it's what you love, it's gonna happen regardless. There's nothing you can do. You can run, but it's still gonna come back to you. Somebody's gonna remind you. I'm sorry. You ever tell somebody about your dream, they're gonna remind you. So you might as well just get used to it, and just tell yourself, I didn't make it happen on this day. And I would also say, like, I make work plans for everything, but I'm a project manager, so I kind of have to do that. So I do that with my life as well, like just making streams of, this is what I want to do by this date. But sometimes you got to throw the dates out. You know what I mean? Like, dates aren't real sometimes. Like, you might want something to happen on this day, and then when it doesn't, don't beat yourself up. It didn't happen that day, but tomorrow still exists. So just take it for what it is and just keep it moving. Yeah.
Kanye showed us that his album come out like 2 months ago.
I just want to add one more to that real quick as far as how to start a successful business. Partnerships are key. Make sure you have the right team. You don't have to do everything yourself. And in fact, everyone in this room, I'm going to charge you. Try to find another Hamptonian to make money with.
Yes.
Like, if you are not making money with a Hamptonian,
Yes.
you're missing out on the network. So between now and next year, find a Hamptonian to make some money with.
And just speaking on that note real quick, a few of my buddies, a couple of them here, Jay West, Ray Lewis, James, we just friends. We would hang out. We started a group chat for Jay West bachelor party a few years back. And it just came like, man, we love hanging out, but what can we do? And now you all can go on iTunes, iHeart Radio, Spreaker, all of that. Check out the podcast, We Not For Sale. And that just came from us hanging out and saying, what do we want to do? How do we do it? People saying, man, I love what y'all brothers be saying. This is a general conversation. So we decided to have a podcast. So it's just figure out. It might be that business with that Hamptonian, it might be right in front of you. You just didn't necessarily notice it and look at it that way, but we did, and we've been rocking. We got about, 12, 13 shows out now. And just so you know, We Not For Sale is a mindset. It's WEKNOTFORCELL. But the main thing is just, it's our unapologetic position. And that's one thing that Hampton allows us, gives us the strength to say is our unapologetic position. Not to say we always right, but it is our position.
Everybody pull out your phone, go to that podcast.
Come on, stand up. Let him hear it.
That's Ray Lewis. He on 40 under 40 today.
I wanted to be on this panel, but I responded a little late. Everybody here is a little bit more diligent than me.
Yeah, wait for the next one.
However, like my brother said, I did get inducted into the 40 under 40 like a lot of people up here. We are blessed to create that podcast. It's on every major podcast station. It's been syndicated for 3 months now. We have over 50,000 1-hour views, which is pretty amazing. We have a lot of brothers saying a lot of crazy things, like this brother up here. My brother James, he came from LA. He's probably the star on the podcast. He says a lot of crazy things. Go to your iPhone, click on a podcast.
What if you don't have an iPhone?
Then you Tim Lewis. Everybody Tim Lee. Everybody
Can we get our show back?
Tell them how to spell it.
Hey, it's We Not For Sale, everybody. WEKNOTFORCELL. The knot is with a K.
Tim, come see.
And we type.
Reverend, Tiffany up there.
Reverend, come on, let's go.
Thank you, man.
I'll be on the next.
I'm looking forward to having you. Okay, so what can we also tell someone? Hold on, so you touched on partnerships, and that's something that I think is super important, especially if you're just starting out your brand and business. That's something that I focused on when I first launched, and it has helped tremendously because you get to share the load, you get to share their platform, and it just helps you grow at an exponential rate. So moving on from the entrepreneurship question, if somebody that's, like I said again, that has been in their career for 10 plus years, but they want to change fields, is it too late? How can they do it? And if they don't know where to start, that's kind of a three-part question, but if they don't know where to start, what is the first step?
First question, it's not too late. I don't know how to do it, but it's not too late.
No, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Has anybody ever had a strong shift?
It almost goes back to what Carrington was saying, where when you decide to do that, you really have to figure out like some self-reflection on what it is that you want to do next.
Okay.
If you want to do something else, you can already do the research and position yourself to go in that direction before you even part ways with your prior career, or you can do it simultaneously so that it can be self-sustaining. Even when he was talking about starting a business, even while you had the previous 9 to 5, like you can do that to fund what your next industry lane is, if it needs that. If it's going to be a career shift that you need to put both feet in, then just make sure that you're making a decision that makes the most sense to you. Go plunge that way. If the direction change again, go a different way. The responsibilities that you asked about the family, sometimes that get into your mind of you have responsibilities to take care of. So that's where the financial savvy come in. You want to make sure that financially and time-wise you're available for your family, you're available for your expenses. But if you're managing your finance properly, you should have that hopefully put away after that 10-year career, that you have a little flex time, that you give yourself some time to build that back up. You can do that, you can change courses, and it's totally cool. So it's not a thing.
I would say I read a lot, so anytime I want to learn something or switch careers or get involved, find a book, get into a book, podcasts, go on YouTube, search videos.
How many pages is that?
10 to 20 pages a day.
That's reasonable.
I always tell people, you read, most books are 300 pages. On average, you read 10 pages a day, 30 days in a month. That's 300 pages in a month. You read a book a month, 12 books a year.
Come on, break it down.
Find someone who's in the industry that you want to get involved in. Ask them if you can shadow them. See if you can, help them with some projects. Be willing to at least work for free initially while you're learning a new craft. And then also, jump in. Don't be afraid to get in, make mistakes. If no one will hire you or no one will give you a shot, create your own lane.
I don't feel like you have to choose necessarily, because it does take a lot of work and a lot of sleepless nights. But I'm still a public health professional by day, and by night I'm a writer. And some days during my lunch break, I'm writing. My partners went to Hampton University. My film partners, Jack Manning III and Lawrence Watford. We formed Tyler Street Films, the old Hampton, but I don't think we have Tyler Street anymore, which tells my age. But I think it's like Harvey. What? I think it's renamed. They said Tyler Street. Okay, as long as it's still there in your Google map. But if you find like-minded people who will help carry part of, do their part and help keep the momentum going, keep encouraging each other, and be willing to have those sleepless nights. I don't feel like you have to choose. I think a lot of times we tell, folks, you gotta be this or that, and if you have a passion, but you also have your salary career, which gives you your health benefits and all that good stuff, and that's where you're comfortable, but you're still an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of work, but it's doable. So that's how I live my life now. At 40 years old, I'm not going to choose right now. I'm going to do all of it.
That's
And
what
then,
your
you
shirt
know,
said.
that's what my shirt says.
That's what your shirt said?
It does.
It's a nice shirt.
Thank you.
Ah.
So, feel like
Can
we
we
don't
buy it?
have to choose.
Can we buy it?
Yes.
You can buy it, yeah. What's
Where?
the website?
It's actually on Teespring.
Oh, it's your shirt?
It's his shirt.
See, I
It's
like
his line.
this. This is great.
I will tell y'all also, conferences and trade shows are a good way to get acclimated to a new field. Just period, whatever you want to get into, say you want to go into media, you should be at least at the National Association of Black Journalists. Or you want to go into law, you should be at the National Bar Association Conference. Every field, I was at a hotel the other week and saw at a conference for pawn shops at a conference. So everybody has a conference. Just find that conference in that field, meet people, and that's a great way to start, get your foot in.
And something that the government has is called a presidential fellowship. It basically allows you to switch your careers again, and then get hired on right after you're done with the fellowship. And any age can do it. Any graduate degree professional can go into it. Pays well.
I wanted to say something. I know you mentioned like partnering with people if you have someone to help you, like trying something new won't be hard. I just wanted to add a caveat that sometimes when you're trying to do it that way, there's gonna be people that's like, yeah, I got you, I'm gonna do it with you, and they don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just letting you know, like, you'll be like, all right, I'm gonna start this business with this friend. There are talker friends, like, that'll just be like, oh yeah, bro, I got you, yes, sis, I'm gonna be there. And they're not gonna be there. Sometimes you have to say, I'm gonna start this by myself, whoever joins, join, whoever don't. Like, that's just what it is, you know what I mean? Because I've had that happen to me. I've been waiting on friends, like, oh, can you make this flyer, can you do this? No, how about you go on YouTube and learn how to make good flyers? How about you go on PowerPoint and make a good presentation? Like, all of those things you can learn on your own, and sometimes we use our money and pay for people to do things that are easily accessible to us on the internet. So I say, become your own marketable person. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need a person to start with you, but actually your person is yourself. You know, stretch your mind and, you know, try to see as much as you can what you can do on your own. And if there's people that can come along the way on the journey, that's fine, but if not, I still have a calling, I have to get it done.
But at homecoming, you can find people that are doers.
Right. I'm like, that's true. Yeah, sometimes you don't have to
credit
carry all
because
that.
a lot of this that we're doing now, and I hope this expands to all HBCUs and they really start pouring back in and having things like this at homecoming as well as the parties. But it was their business that started Carrington, Calvin Butts, and I think maybe one other person. Jeremiah, yeah, when their business started, people was like, oh, it really happened. That connection from people that were Hamptonians but did not know each other, right? Yeah, but they met at homecoming, they talked it out, and they started the business. And that was about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's what led to what we have here now. And so it's possible, it's doable, and the people are here. Shout out to Amy Hampton with her wine company.
Yeah.
Business that gives back to the school.
And Amy's actually one of the next on the group. But one thing I did want to say, just for those who weren't, I can't stop them from doing it because I know when I was a senior and someone was to come on stage and be like, listen, I have people in the theater that want to talk to you guys. I would look at them like, yeah, right. I still keep going. You know, so I made my way all the way up to the stage. I went to the stage. I sat there for a second. I'm looking. They picked up a mannequin and started walking the mannequin on like basically mosh pitted the mannequin. They're throwing bottles. I'm like, how am I going to stop them right now to tell them to come into the theater? It's not going to work, you know. But I made my way over there. But I looked at it and I was like, no, I'm making an executive decision to be like, all right, I'm going to take this one back. Let them enjoy themselves. And not that I got scared. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because what's going to happen is, you know, it's not that my street cred is street cred, but it's like if I went up there and said something like that, they'd be like, yo, did this dude start the toilet too, trying to get us to stop the toilet too? I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, this is the second one. You know what I'm saying? So we're building on these moving forward so that it will be continuous from here. So we'll know, all right, so maybe next year we might have to do a 4:30 to like 6:30 kind of thing where right when it's ending, we can come in. You know, and that's when we talking about the whole networking and keep building on each other because we have to continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? So this idea was created from me and Sharonda, and we just wanted to do something and we created it. You know what I'm saying? So now we have it. Like, I don't know everybody that was on the panel, but I met people through the panel. And I know that because of these networks, other people will be able to network and I will be able to network. You know, like, no lie. I wrote 2 books because of this panel. I just wrote 2 books because of this panel, looking at out. If y'all remember last year, I talked about a documentary I was doing. That's all I talked about. When I was here, I said I'm doing a documentary on the effect of outside the classroom experiences and how to be successful outside the classroom. That's all I talked about. After this panel, I sat back and I realized, like, listen, the things that we learned in college, it's not as good as a documentary. It needs to be written so people can understand and learn from it in a book. And then it ended up being 2 books. This is why you go to college, and this is why you prepare for college. So it has high school students preparing them for college, and then college students teaching them the tools to be successful outside the classroom because of this panel. So that's the things that I want you guys to take from it and understand that you may not even realize some things that may happen from this. You know, and I don't know how many networks and how many relationships were built from it, but I know they were because after it was all said and done, people didn't want to leave here. People were trying to still talk and network, and people, they had to kick us out of here. You know, they didn't want to, we were sitting there, guys was like, we got to clean up. I think that day was, there was a party in the atrium. They were trying to clear out the whole thing, and we were in here still networking, giving out cards, talking and everything. So that's why I want you guys to learn from that, because you guys can learn as well, because we're all, like, I'm 36 years old. I can learn from someone that's 22, 23. I can learn from somebody that's 45. So, like, everybody needs to be able to learn from each other and take advice. Like, that's my line brother. I've known him since 2002, and I'm still learning from him. You know what I'm saying? I'm still learning from this guy, and I've known him for almost 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real. So, I just wanted to, I guess, open that up to how networking has helped you guys, and then from there, we're gonna see, we got a couple questions, and we're gonna take a little break. So.
First of all, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for starting this platform. My question is in terms of infrastructure, how do you make a directory or some sort where we can be able to put all of this information into one, like an online type of.
As far as alumni goes, or?
For alumni as well, because you talked about like a 36-year-old was connected to only 22. That 22-year-old may know how to do Instagram and use it intern for your job, for your business. How can we get to work with this tool for the different departments and get the students to put what their interests are and then the needs of these entrepreneurs together?
You know what's crazy?
Like a
Hampton actually has that. And I'm sure y'all don't even know that. I went on Hampton and I started inputting my information, and then it started asking, like, do you want to be a mentor? What is your profession? What field are you in? Who do you want to mentor? Like, Hampton University actually has that. I'm not sure if they're good at allocating, putting it together. So Brandon, who he just stepped out, he is the chairperson for the mentor aspect of the 40 under 40. So between him and myself, we're going to try to work that out, especially between the people who are inducted in the 40 under 40, the people who are on the panel, and then we can kind of expand it from there. But that is the overall goal of this panel.
Yes, but yeah. Like if you have 2 books, and we know, like, for our chapters, we do that for, our sororities or whatever.
Right.
And we knew, like, if you know what your products are, you'd be able to actually access them.
Yeah.
Almost like some green sheet back to that.
And the panelists know, and the people that were here last year know, like, I always talk about the fact that Hampton University, we're very successful, but we're very introverted. Like, we'll do all these things and not tell nobody about it. Then all of a sudden, it's like, what? You the president of who? Like, there was a panelist last year that was talking about he did all this stuff with Disney, and we looking like, Disney, we go to Disney every year. Like, it was crazy that we do so many successful things and nobody knows about it. Meanwhile, Howard, everybody went to Howard, everything they did, everything they're doing, and we do more successful things than Howard alumni. And like, we're very humble in our ways, but I think it's working. Yeah,
we're not talking, we working.
I just think that everybody in Hampton knows that we have a strong network. We know we have a strong network. We know that once you open your mouth and start talking to people, you can get things done. And I think that we just have to do a better job of letting everybody know, at least within the Hampton family, what we do to expand from there and what's going on.
And we got to do that in our cities. That's where you really want to tap in. A lot of people come to LA to join the entertainment industry, and it's like they a few tap in, but a few people think like, oh, they gotta be Hollywood because I'm in Hollywood, and they don't tap in. And it's like Hampton people ain't really Hollywood like that, at least in LA, especially those of us who are from there. But they miss out. Like the casting director for BET is a Hamptonian, her assistant's a Hamptonian. And this is somebody that's told me, any Hamptonian come to LA and want to act or do whatever, have them send me an email, Hampton in the tagline. And I know a young Hamptonian that came out, got an audition. Now, you gotta have the talent. I ain't just going but she gonna give you a shot. And so it's tap in your cities. If you're not tapped in, whatever city you're in, there's hundreds of Hamptonians there. Tap into them and max out those opportunities.
She's a Hamptonian and a Delta. She's got my eye.
I didn't know that.
She sure is.
I feel like, because I'm still an undergraduate, I'm a senior year, I kind of feel like we feel excluded until homecoming. So like this opportunity that you just told us about, like I know for especially scripts majors, like we would love to hear about this, but we only get emails and calls from like Disney and Google, like we don't hear from alumni until homecoming. So I feel like if we could just continue to spread the word throughout August all the way to now to get everyone here, I know that people would be really down to come and meet everybody and get a lot of opportunities. It's just we only really hear from major companies, if that makes sense.
And I will tell you that once you become an alumni, and it's like life happens.
Yeah.
And so you be like, you care about Hampton, you want to give, but if somebody pull your coattail, you whatever you need, pull up. But you know, in our day-to-day lives, as we're going in the course and we're going to these boardrooms or these conference rooms, it's very difficult from the alumni side, and you ain't never gonna have the amount of time that you have to do what you want to do like you do now as a student. So I in response to that, just knowing the little bit you heard today, whatever you can imagine, whatever anybody can imagine they want to do, a Hamptonian is doing it and willing to help you. But it's as much as they'll reach out, it's for you to reach out and find them as well. Get on LinkedIn, put that in the search and find them. Whatever you need.
I'm a chief of staff in the House of Representatives, and we're always looking for interns constantly. And for me, how I connect with folks is through, you know, all the folks who I'm familiar with. Of course, Michelle Demonda's a close friend of mine. We graduated together from here. Brandon Webb also, so he and I are both chiefs of staff, and we both graduated from Hampton. So I say that to say I personally made a commitment to really reach out to the Career Services Office as well as the Alumni Affairs Office, because it's those offices working together to ensure that they know where we are, that they're, you know, reaching us. I came to Monroe Hill from being a senior director of diversity at American University Law School. And so I know from the inside how there has to be a synergy and a working together and a coordinated outreach to the alumni. So I personally will help to ensure that we are connected at where the alumni are to the students. And I applaud each and every student who is current student who is in this room right now, because you can be outside. Being here for knowing that this is your future. So,
Right.
What's your name and
Kendra Brown, Onyx 5.
All right. Let's just be clear that quintessence does run through.
I wanted to say something about networking though. I just wanted to add that for the students, don't always try to network with people who are in the same field as you, because there are some people that will know somebody who knows somebody and connect you. So I know like after this panel, if you're interested in one thing, you might run up to the person and be like, hey, can I, and you'll miss your opportunity from someone else who has a close friend of something. So just broaden your horizons. Don't only stick to a person that you feel like may be able to help you. And as far as help is concerned, I had to sit back after Hampton and define help for myself, you know, because sometimes we often look for help as an internship or as a job, but help can also be advisement. how can you leverage on the opportunity that you have now, direction and where you're going for the future. So for me, help is not only about just gaining an opportunity out of someone, because sometimes it comes off as an opportunist when you're just sitting with someone and you're just waiting for them to finish speaking so you can ask them for another job. That's not the way networking works. It's about building a bond and relationship with a person, because no one wants to feel used. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just pick up the phone and call your mentor. I just want to say thank you. How are you doing? Not only just to reach out for an opportunity. So leverage on people, but define what help means for you, so that people don't feel used, and people want to help people that are genuinely asking because they know that this person has been there before me and they can help me get to where I am, but not just because of the name of the job they work at or somebody that they know, because people can smell fake from a mile away. Like, that's just what it is. So for me, I offer internships all the time, and I tell people, like, if you come and you intern for me, I'll give you all the resources and I'll help you. But number one, if you're a Hamptonian, don't embarrass me. Because I hold myself to a high standard, and I hold all the interns that I offer an opportunity to a high standard. And also, be genuine with people. Be yourself. People can smell who you are from a mile away. So just be yourself and just define help within yourself, so that you're not using someone.
Yes. When I was in grad school, actually, Bria did help me get an internship. So thank you. She is a woman of her word. Okay.
Also on networking, something what she said is so true, because in general, I just try to be helpful to anybody that I meet and just be kind and pleasant or whatever, because you never know who they know and how they'll speak about you outside of that room. Because I've got more opportunities from people who are not in the industry I'm in. Because somebody's just randomly talking about real estate or whatever, and they're like, oh, I got a girl. Let me give you her number. And so just make sure that you're always kind to everybody. Like a friend of mine who I met just because I was nice to her. She was like an intern or something with the G League. She now is like over marketing. So everybody starts somewhere and they go to other places. And if you treated them like a peon when they was at a small position, believe they remember.
They don't run back. 100%.
One thing about networking that I want us to remember, and I like this quote from Issa Rae, is that she doesn't try to necessarily network up. She networks across. Yeah. And so it's not a thing where this person's here, Oprah's here, so I'm trying to get with Oprah. The Hamptonians talking about, then you're talking about Robbie, right? Yeah. She, that's networking across, and she's pretty big. But what she did, you have to be able to open your mouth though, and not be afraid of rejection. You don't have to feel, you don't have to use someone, but you don't have to have this fear that people are gonna think I'm trying to be an opportunist. No, I'm just telling you I have this, and I wanna show it to you, and I went to Hampton. And if they allow you to do that, and like you said, you have to have some talent, it needs to be quality. But if it's quality and you're a Hamptonian, I would say for Robbie, she made sure that our film was shown in LA, in Hollywood, at the TLC Chinese Theater. And it was simply because he was Hamptonian, and Law opened his mouth, and then he said, the screenwriter's a Delta. She was like, she a Hampton Delta? Let me look at this. And then when she liked it, and next thing you know, we're at Indie Night. So it's like, you have to be afraid. You can't be afraid of rejection. You have to try to build those networks. And I can be someone who's a little afraid of rejection at times. You have to let that go. And be sincere, be genuine, but also be like, okay, I have something that I want to partner with you. I want to work with you. Because we shouldn't always feel like people are only trying to use us. People need help. And we need to be willing to help regardless. So I want to caution, because sometimes I think we get into that mindset of, I don't want to say that because I don't want them to think I'm only trying to use them to get this position. Well, you really do want to get this role, but you also want to build this partnership. So you have to open your mouth and say something.
And I totally, sorry, I was just gonna say, I totally agree with that. Like, I wasn't saying it so that you don't reach out, because there's nothing wrong with reaching out. It's just the follow-up. People love follow-up. You know what I mean? If somebody does something for you, it takes nothing to send an email and say, just checking on you, how you doing? That, like, asking for something is not a problem, but if you just ask for something, somebody never hears from you again, it kind of looks, like you just wanted something from them, So just taking the time out. And sometimes I write a little note to myself, send an email to such and such. You have to do that. You know what I mean? You never know you guys are gonna cross paths again, and they'll remember this person is a follow-up person. This person is a person you can depend on. And when you have that, you know, everybody's looking out for each other.
Use that notes app.
I will also say,
Right.
how you guys doing?
It's the last comment.
I will also say, be yourself and develop actual real relationships. Because a person can't identify with what you do unless they can identify with who you are. Because a lot of times people approach, I pretty much kind of like, in LA, I know pretty much everybody. But I will tell you straight to your face, you're not ready yet and what to work on before I pass it to Kendrick, or I pass it to Kobe, or anybody who it is. So I would say be genuine, because I'm gonna say, nah, you're not ready. I'm gonna be real with you. And that's how, you don't want nobody to be fake with you. Like she said, rejection, take that and do better, because real gonna recognize real. I'm gonna recognize talent because I'm always tapped in. So it's gonna, like, if you're doing great work, you signing all your work with excellence, you know, you're gonna get noticed.
And I just want y'all to know, this is like the best networking in Hampton history that I know of. Like, for his 30th birthday, Jenny Buss, the owner of the Lakers, gave us tickets to the game in the San Manuel Club. He took his wife on the Kobe helicopter the other week for a birthday. It's just networking, just being that staple, meeting people. Jordan, LeBron, this is like, I've met people just being his homeboy that I would have never met. And so it's like the just spreading that love, being nice to people. People will always remember how you feel, and treating people like a human, no matter how big they are. And if that means standing there, you know, maybe you got made a fool of, you know, in your mind, you did not sell your soul for that interaction. And that's what's important, making sure people know they're people, because even celebrities want to be people. In our experience, well, the ones I met through Jay West.
But always remember, we all are, you know, masterfully created, like equal. We all are, you know, great at something. Everybody does something great in this room better than the next person. So never put yourself below anybody or above anybody. Just know we're all unfinished products created by the same creator. So you always want to give him the glory, and if you move in that order, you know, I always say make peace your priority, happiness and peace your priority, and organize your life around it. Then you know, you set the greatest one.
I personally want to thank the first set of panelists. At this time, we're going to take a little intermission. We have time. Hopefully, those who can stay, please stay. We're going to be bringing on another set of panelists. And there's entrepreneur panelists. And once again, my name is Yancy Merchant, in Onyx 6, graduated in 2005. Onyx is out here. I created this event with Sharona Lawson, who is a 2006 graduate. She lives in Atlanta right now. She's an entertainment lawyer. She was unable to come to homecoming this year, but we created this event to bridge the gap between older alumni, younger alumni, and undergraduate students to allow for everyone to network, meet each other, and find out different industries that you may be interested in or in now, and you know, may want to build in a ladder through our Hampton family. So without further ado, we're going to introduce yourself to the next panel, moderator and panelist.
Hi everybody, my name is Alexia Lewis. I'm a senior political science major on the pre-law track here. I'm Onyx 11 and I'll be co-moderating this.
And panelists, you go ahead and announce yourself and a little history of what you've done and your Hampton history. You know.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Marti Hines. I am also Onyx 6 with Yancy. And I live in Los Angeles. I am an entrepreneur and filmmaker. My current project is airing right now on BET Her. It's a feature film called Paper Friends. So please. I had such a good time at Hampton. I was a Davidson diva. There is no more Davidson. My heart. Yes, exactly. Student leader here, member of Gamma Theta, and it just was a great time. I was listening to the panel earlier about just like the network and the community that's here at Hampton. I so much of my success and everything that I've achieved, so much came from coming to Hampton. So I'm just excited to be here today and talk to you guys.
Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Sianni Caballo. I am a graduate of Hampton University first, and then I followed through to Columbia University for my master's degree. And I currently run the dopest college prep program on the East Coast of the United States.
Okay.
And we work with boys and girls in the inner cities to get them prepared for life and prepared for college.
Perfect. My name is Laurel Djoukeng. I'm Onyx Evanet here. So right after school, I worked on Wall Street in private equity investment banking for 10 years, and then I launched a nonprofit called Catalyst Foundation. So our goal is to develop the hard, soft, and practical skills of our high school youth. So we operate out of Washington, D.C. and New York City. So we have a 3-week summer intensive program from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We've had over 200 fellows, and we educate about 2,000 a year. And then I actually now go to grad school at Duke University, get my MBA, and I have a tech startup that I just launched called Spark as well. I have a bunch of coders and building that out at Duke. So I still run my nonprofit Catalyst Foundation, and then I also have my tech startup, Spark.
How you guys doing? My name is Nailah Sutherland. I also go by the name of Nice. I'm a senior here, strategic communications major from St. Louis, Missouri. Right now, I'm the vice president of the Public Relations Student Society of America. I'm a student leader. I also interned with Yancy over the summer and through this current school year. And I also do music.
You're an artist.
It's okay. It's okay. So hi everybody. I am Ashley and Company, Onyx 7. I'm a BC cutie. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I just relocated to DC, so I'm from the early now, I guess. And I run 2 companies. So company really is my last name. My companies are Jelani Women Travel, where we curate epic travel experiences across Africa for empowered Black women. We also have and all of the trips support our charity, Jelani Girls, and that's for empowered Black teenage girls in South Africa and the U.S. to have a cultural immersion experience with each other each summer. And we also have a private trip for Hampton alumni and friends. We're going to Morocco next year. So anything Black people trying to get to Africa, that's what I do, and we're just trying to impact lives. And I'm also super dressed up because I am the Hampton University alumni She Got It Now award recipient for Essence. So I'm already apologizing in advance. I have to leave to go over to the award ceremony.
And 40 under 40
Oh,
inaugural
yes.
class.
The inaugural class.
How y'all doing? I'm Blake Bynum. I'm a Hampton 2012 graduate. I'm a School of Business major. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. Born and raised, and I still live there now. I am an acquisition analyst for the government contracting, which is a very big industry up in DC. But I also am a filmmaker. And I didn't study film at Hampton at all. I didn't even know I wanted to be a filmmaker. I didn't know what I actually wanted to do. All I knew is I wanted to own a business, make money, doing something, because I heard Hampton alumni are own bosses, and I wanted to know how to become that. And also being from Northern Virginia, you know, there are a lot of Black affluent families who came from HBCUs or not, who definitely had that spark on me to, you know, kind of take things into your own hands. So when I graduated, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started my own vending business, where I had contracts at 4 hotels and 8 machines total in the DC area. And then I went to Africa for my 9-to-5 job for Tanzania for 4 months, which kind of changed my life, you know, and a whole cultural experience more than Hampton did. Then from that, I really got into filmmaking, made a few short films, got into a few film festivals, and trying to build a bigger platform up in DC for independent filmmakers. So, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Amy Hampton. I am from Dallas, Texas. I graduated from Hampton University in 2004. I came in '99 though, so I'm part of Ogre. And I am in part of inaugural class for 40 under 40. And Hampton University has truly changed my life and has set the trajectory on so many different ways. After Hampton, I ended up going to Meharry Medical College, and that's where I met my husband and family. We have a practice of dentistry there in Dallas. and I was over 13 hospitals when I graduated from Meharry. And I literally have changed my life from water to wine because I'm a mad scientist who loves to party. And I own Sociology Wine, and we have been sold in Walmart, Goody Goody. We're over, at our peak, we're in 967 stores throughout the United States. We're sold online, and we're expanding. We have a deal on the table right now with Target to expand into that space, and also do custom wine bottles. For my why is really truly to give from a social entrepreneurial space. I want to bridge the public health, which is education, healthcare, as well as economics with my product. And so every time you raise your glass, you pour back into the community. And so that is my and so I'm grateful and blessed to be here and to say I'm a Hamptonian. I say it loud and proud.
Thank you, guys. I'm so excited. I love this stuff. This is awesome. Go ahead.
All right, so we're having this panel to keep it real, and we really want the tea on how Hampton prepared all of you for the real world. So anybody start off?
I'm gonna start off with being a current student here. It's kind of the subliminal message and the underlying message that Hampton tries to like put on other people that kind of prepares you. I feel weird as far as being a senior because I feel like I'm here, but like where I come from has put me in a position to kind of be ahead of my certain like classmates that I interact with. So just as far as like dealing with the Hampton runaround and just certain situations, just dealing with professors or students and stuff like that, the things that frustrate you or make you feel like, oh, I don't want to do Hampton no more are the places where you learn the real lessons. So it wasn't until my junior year, last year, where I met Yancy, and he came and spoke to the student leaders and kind of told us, the impact that he made as a student here throughout his journey and after. And it sparked something in me to make me want to take an initiative to do something more. I was kind of trying to follow the Hampton structure on how to do things, but you have to use the Hampton structure and use your own personal structure. And, kind of combine both of those, and then you find your path there. So, it's the things that you're learning at Hampton that you want to ignore or put on the back burner are the most important lessons that will help you, carry on aside from Hampton. Not the class lessons, not the lectures, not what the professors tell you. That's just for you to make it in Hampton. But our experience here is for you to make it outside of Hampton. So take the little small things and the frustrating things and stuff like that, and I feel like that's what helped me prepare for my outside life.
Something that you hit on was your experiences within Hampton, and being a student leader as well, like knowing how to events plan, knowing how to market something, knowing how to deal with those frustrations in the real world has helped me tremendously. And making 20,000 phone calls just to get one yes, because in Hampton you have to call financial aid 1,000 times to get one answer. So things like that have taught me how to be persistent, how to carry yourself professionally, and to continue to strive for what you want and make sure you get what you want out of your life.
I think that Hampton, when I think about it as an institution, I agree with all of those things. But when I also think about Hampton, I think about family and relationships, and that has really propelled both of my companies. I started Jelani Girls Incorporated, the charity, first in 2013 after leaving Pepsi. And when you start a nonprofit, the first thing you have to do is incorporate with the board of directors. And if you don't know anything that you don't know, you're going to call your friends and family. And so my entire board were family and Hampton students. And so that really impacted me and helped me with the foundation with Hampton. And then when I started the for-profit, all of my first clients were Hamptonian women. So when I think about the people at Hampton, that's really what supported me in my journey.
And to piggyback off her, so use what I know. I'm not going to be able to touch everybody I can right away, but use your network and know that they come from similar experiences that you do, but they have a different perspective that can help you go forward.
And Amy?
I would say the grace and the grit to marry those two, and also to be impactful, you have to be intentional, but also have integrity. When you think about the word integrity, you're talking about being together, to be tight, whole. And so you can make an impact when you're whole. And they really truly talk about your whole self. Because if one part of you is not tight, you're gonna be, the other party's gonna be slack and whack. You would hear that kind of stuff. You would hear, you cannot, you know, to be on time is to be late. You're too early for tomorrow and too late for today. Those type of things, and again, thank you for being so graceful with me, but it was just something, the energy on Hampton's campus when I got here in 1999. When I arrived, it had an energy and a set already in place that said that everything's about excellence. Before excellence became a hashtag, it was already a thing that you had to do when you walked in. And it was like, it seemed like everyone was already grown years old when I arrived, as if they knew what they were going to be. And you can see one's excellence and their light and their shine in them. I don't care if they were really, really quiet or truly, you know, outgoing. You could be able to figure that out very soon. So you have to find your own light or being original at Hampton. That's what I learned.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that, I would just, what I learned a lot from Hampton, especially like being part of Vice President of the National Association of Black Accountants here, is that you're always being in a leadership role when it's like a voluntary position, so you don't have leverage or authority. It helps you understand, okay, how to motivate people and get them to do what they want. So when I started my nonprofit, especially when I was working, I literally had, and actually 4 of my team members on my leadership team all were Hamptonians as well, but I had about 12 people on my team that were all volunteers for a 6-year period. And I was hiring teachers during the summertime, right? But those people I was leading without any influence because I wasn't paying those other individuals. So just always understanding, okay, I've been doing this for a long time at Hampton, leading people without actually like paying them, and they can disappear at any time. And even at Duke now, I mean, I pay coders, but then I have 6 Duke undergraduate computer science students that are working for me for free, and then I have my classmates that work at McKinsey and BCG that are helping me out. So I have 14 team members. If you look on our website now, and 13 are just working for free, and they can be doing a lot of other things that Duke and making money. So what is my nonprofit with that? Just being here and then being in leadership positions where it was volunteering roles and understanding how to still get people to be motivated to put in a lot of work for you. That could be doing other things because they're very prolific. It's just kind of running down here.
All right, so if we can all just look back and reminisce a little bit, if you could give some advice to your undergraduate self, what would it be?
Well, you can give advice to yourself as a freshman, your freshman self.
I would tell myself that you don't have to be 50 years old to start on your dreams, that you can start your freshman year. With my nonprofit, I thought I had to be, you know, a certain age before I started, and I didn't realize until after I graduated. So I didn't really get to take hold of my peers that were around me from freshman to senior year. And I'm just kind of starting that now. And Alexia being on campus, she's one of our board members. She's been doing a great job. But it would have been better if I was here with her, trying to do that at the same time. So yeah, starting on your dreams now.
I mean, I would just piggyback on that in thinking that you might not know exactly what your dream is, and it could change several times. So just starting something. You know, I think about people who are really successful in like the blog space or the blogging space, and it may have seemed really simple at first, but you're already building a following, you're adding, you're getting better and better, or you might pivot and realize sometimes it's a thing that you don't want to do. So all of those things are important, so the most important thing is just to start now, whatever it is.
And based off that, figure out what your strengths are in yourself. You may want to be, you know, A, but you not really have those qualities to make you successful in A yet. So different qualities, you know, whether it's a personality test you take, or something that your friends think that you are, you know, have these qualities within yourself. Use what you're good at and use your references around you and sources around you to try to make something out of it. Because these 4 years are, like everyone says, not gonna get back. I'm a living testament of it. I was here, I feel like yesterday, now I'm 7 years out, you know what I mean? So I can't get it back, you know? Like I was here yesterday, I can still smell the pirate grill. So, you know, everything's changed, and you know, just basically do what you want to do, and own it, and try 100% because that shit might hit, you know.
I would say not to have too much pressure on yourself. I think that, especially today, everyone's a multi-hyphenate. You know, they're actors, writers, producers, directors. You know, you can be anything and everything. You don't have to kind of box yourself into, you know, what's my major? I was a political science major. I have not done one thing related to what I came to school for, you know, but if you stay like, I have to be a lawyer because I was poli-sci, so you kind of can find yourself boxed into that, and a lot of my friends and peers that are now in their mid-30s are kind of having like this early midlife crisis of like, I actually didn't want to be doing this, you know, but this is what I said I was gonna do when I got to Hampton. This was the next step. This is exactly, you know, the path I was supposed to do, but actually I'm interested in this, or I'm not sure what I'm interested in. So it's just allowing yourself to be fluid and to, you know, explore everything that interests you until you figure out. You're not supposed to know at 18, you know, what you want to do for the rest of your life. So it's just kind of, just ease up a little bit.
I would say to the freshman me, but I don't even use freshman me. I try to say it to like my peers and my classmates. One director, she just left, and even Chelsea, she's right there, another one of the directors. Like, I try and use my peers to give the advice that I wish that I would have had. And I would say just as far as relaxing, everybody either chooses not to relax or they fear relaxing because they fear that, okay, I'm gonna relax and probably relax too much. But like, we're constantly always anxious about something, our next move or what we're gonna do next or the next job or something like that. And like, that starts to build up stress, and then you start to project that energy into the environment around you. So it makes it really difficult to work with other people and even work with yourself. So I would say the advice is just to know that whatever you're afraid of happening, whether you're afraid or you're ready, it's still gonna happen. So to enjoy that moment and to not worry yourself out is taking the backseat of it and learning how to embrace whatever it is and know that it was meant for you, even if you didn't plan for it. My freshman year, like, I was just trying to do everything and spread myself out. And honestly, I still am. Like, I shot a music video right before this, went to 12 to 5, and I'm still here. You know, I'm spreading myself thin, but I have a plan and a direction of how I'm trying to do things. So, just the advice to anybody, no matter how old you are or what your experience is or your major or your profession, it's about knowing how to just take time for your life and embrace whatever it is. It may be a disaster at that moment, but just be able to be like, hey, this is a disaster that only I get to experience, so let's make this the best disaster. Or if it's a win and it's something that's rewarding, let's make this the best reward possible. But you have to embrace everything the same way, because if you feed too much into the wrong, it becomes bigger than what it is. But even if it's good and you put something into that, that also becomes bigger than what it is. So I'd rather or prefer to have something big and good that's rewarding than something that's big and something that's gonna diminish me or make me feel insecure or bad about myself, you know? So advice to everybody is just, you know how to relax and enjoy whatever you're going through at that moment.
I mean, one thing I didn't do as much here, but it still kind of panned out for what I wanted to do, but I could have done much more, is like utilizing all the resources here. And then I could have doubled down on just leveraging being an Hamptonian while at school, and I still did it to a way that I felt comfortable, but literally when I was at school, and the people that I thought were aspirational for me were people that just like ran their own businesses, but all their businesses were reflections of their passions, and not like run a business where it's just them. Like, they had massive companies and they like have operating companies and stuff like that. And when I would see them when I was at Hampton, you know, where if I was working in DC or New York, I was like, you know, I currently go to Hampton. They would always just embrace that quick. So while you're at school, you can leverage that so much to pretty much talk to whoever you want to at all times. You can still do it when you get older, but they're even that much more quick to embrace you because they know that, you know, you are in school. So you can leverage that like tenfold to anybody that you want to meet. And then what I mean, like literally leveraging all the resources as much as possible. I was just trying to, out of school, like work on Wall Street in New York and move to New York. So I was focused on like NAB and different business associations, but there are a plethora of resources and abundance at school that you can just, you know, leverage. And I didn't, you know, really do that to the zenith. So I would say that.
Yeah, I know I have a pretty good example. In September, I started my book tour down in Hampton, and I sat in the student center. You know, the students over here know that I was just sitting here talking to people as they were coming, right? So one student came in, she was like looking all depressed, and I'm like, why is she looking like that? She just came, she's like, hi, how you doing? She sat down looking sad. I had no idea who she was. And she was like, well, you know, I'm thinking about going back down to Alexandria. I'm gonna go back home. And it might have been like maybe a weekend, 2 weeks in. And I was like, why? You know, she just wasn't happy with her situation. She stayed in Twitchell. And I was like, all right, well, what's the problem? She's like, we don't really know anybody. I only know like some person that told her to come to Hampton, like a sophomore. And then she said, well, you know, I just feel like nobody really knows me. I was like, but you stay in a dorm full of girls. I'm like, you know, meet somebody, talk to somebody. I was like, what do you want to do? What are you here for? And she's like, well, I want to do interior design. When I graduate from college, I want to do interior design. I was like, so you want to do 4 years of college and then start interior design when you're in a dorm with a bunch of girls that are putting together a dorm room right now? I'm like, what sense does that make? I was like, you can start right now. I said, you can leave me right now, go to your dorm, talk to your whole floor, and like, listen, you know, I think you should do this. And you know, I'm thinking about doing interior design, and start talking to the girls. And before you know it, before the semester is out, the year is out, those same girls are going to move off campus, and then they will be looking to you to do the interior design of their apartments. I'm like, that's how you got to get it started. Don't wait. Like you said earlier, like there's no reason to wait. Like don't wait to do something where you don't realize what you have right now. Like you have the network right now to get things going, because then you can learn from that, because you can do interior design. And I'm telling the same thing I'm telling y'all. You can do the interior design for free, and then as the semester's going, charge $50, $60 or whatever, and then all of a sudden now you're doing it for all the dorm rooms and all the off-campus apartments, and before you know it, you get it done. So then I actually stayed in contact with her over the past month and a half. She emailed me a few weeks ago, and she was like, oh, there's this football player who wants me to do interior design for his apartment. I was like, that's not the idea that I was telling you. I said, stay within your dorm. But I'm hoping the intentions were good, because she didn't say anything that wasn't good. But you know, as a Hamptonian, you know, brother, I'm like, I don't know how this happens. Hopefully things worked out. And I just saw her when I had my table set up. She was actually working with the Victoria's Secret table right next to us. And at least to me, that makes me feel proud, because I know that she didn't transfer out. She's not gone. At least she was with a group of girls, and she's doing something where she feels like she's a part of something. You know, however way she got it, at least it worked out. You know, so I just want to say that little story to me. You know, hopefully I feel like I changed her trajectory a little bit. You know, hopefully the football thing, you know, was all genuine. But yeah.
Yancy, that's a great point. If I would talk to my freshman self, but I would even talk to myself before coming to school, I wanted to talk to the person that before she came to school, really to figure out what her, or not even figure out, but really focus on what she's really good at. I wish I would have shared my panache more. Yeah. I think it's so funny how like when you go away, you come back. People are like, I saw you do that. I saw you design things. I saw you do. I like your style. I like that. And no one really tells you that much when you're like a freshman or you know, when you're together, because you're still trying to learn yourself. And other people trying to learn themselves too. But I really wish I would have like been able to focus on doing what that young lady should have been doing.
Right. All right. So, you have the next question?
All right. So, speaking of trajectory, can somebody or everybody tell us about the most difficult time in their trajectory towards their career path?
Fundraising. That's really difficult when in the nonprofit world. That's just a short answer.
I'll say compromise. Knowing what you're trying to do, what your plan is, what your intentions is, and then you have to go consult with somebody else or another administration. They're trying to tell you what you have to do differently, or for me, that's the most difficult, because I'm kind of a person that's like stuck in my ways. Like, you know what? This is my plan. This is how I'm going about it. Now I'm going to go do it. But then once you go out to go do it, then you start dealing with, okay, this person said you have to do this in order to do your first step. And it's so hard, especially being in Hampton. Like, if you're an alum here or you're a current student here, you know how traditional Hampton is and how they don't look at the intentions of what people are trying to do. They just look at the actions. Oh, if you did this, I don't know what your intentions are. So when I say like compromise, when you're willing to do something but people aren't willing to do something for you in return, it kind of is frustrating, or it kind of makes you feel like, well, why? You know, or just asking you why. Like, what is it that's making you stop me or come get in the way of what I'm trying to do? So it becomes very difficult, and like just as far as to answer your question, that's just what I feel like is compromise. But whatever anybody's answer is, you have to be just willing to pay attention and adjust and know somebody is trying to help you do it, but they're only trying to help you from their own personal perspective, not your perspective that you developed on your own. You know.
Your fear, I think it's about making sure that you temper your fear with faith. That transition between going from a corporate position, like I have nice, you know, retirement set up, I'm over 13 hospitals, I have everything, you know, set up, my parents like me, my student loans are almost paid off, you know, I look stable, and sometimes your self-image will try to fight your inner purpose. And so you have to really truly be thoughtful about that, and as you transition, really focus on what your faith is about, like what's your why, because you have a lot of what's going on, and people will tell you how all day long, and they've never ever done what you know what you've done. Don't take advice from someone who is nude to give you a shirt. You cannot tell me, hey, if you teach school, that's great. If you are a mailman, you cannot tell me how to get a SKU on a shelf at Walmart, because the grit that it takes is totally different. So find people that make sense for what you're trying to do to make more sense.
I think also taking that next step. I know with me in filmmaking, you know, it was more of a hobby, a side job, you know, passion. But then to take the next step of really putting my, you know, my pockets behind it, opening my mouth more, reaching out to more people, and to really say this is what I want to do. So it's you know, looking deep within yourself, you know, as you said, with fear and passion for it, and just happen, you know, to actually, you know, have the wherewithal to do it when everyone says no, or even reality says no. Go ahead and do it, and have that faith in yourself to really believe in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else is going to.
I mean, I would still piggyback on like fundraising. I mean, one, fundraising from my nonprofits end, and then capital raising from my startup end. And so, especially fundraising when like you're the executive director, the founder, it always falls on you. So just bare bones, since starting my nonprofit in 2011, just to run it, because we provide free food, and all our programming is free for the 30 students in New York City and 30 students in Washington, D.C. that go through a 3-week summer intensive program. So ran at Howard, ran at St. Francis College, all the corporate tours, everything that we do. And then throughout the school year, all 2,000 students is like minimum 40,000, because I'm hiring staff seasonally to run it. So just always having that pressure burden always follow me. And then the same thing with my startup now, which feels better because it's strictly for profit and make money, but when like for 10 straight years, it's always relied on you, and you get used to it. That's what you know, when you're running your own business or whatever, that's what you gotta do. But you wanna make all your other team members feel comfortable and put them in a position where they don't have to think about all the other pressures that come with it. So you're mainly focused on capital raising, fundraising, and it's Miami, like money is a major issue, so it's always something dealing with all the time, like just fundraising, capital raising.
I agree. For me, it was kind of a two-part thing. When I first started, it was realizing and keep reminding myself that I don't have to start small, like I can start big, and always putting my best foot forward, and not say, okay, I'm just a small startup business. I can't have a 200-person seminar next month just because I first started. So that was just constantly reminding myself that yes, I can do it. But secondly, I hate talking about money as well. So fundraising and like dealing with contracts with celebrities or like people that want to get flown out for free. I don't like talking about that stuff because I don't want any bad blood. At the end of the day, I still want to be able to work with everyone. So I always try to delegate the fundraising part and the contract negotiation with other people, if I can.
Yeah. I think most of us have basically got money. I would say it's the hardest part of just this entrepreneurial life. But in film and entertainment in Hollywood, which is the industry that I've been in for the past 7 years, it's a lot of chicken and egg. And I feel like a lot of you can probably relate as well. It's like, I'm not going to give you a chance until you've done this, but you can't have done this if someone doesn't give you a chance. So now what? So you've got a script, or you're fundraising for, for something else that's like, okay, well, this looks great, but do you have any talent? Well, I can't get talent until you tell me you want to make it, but the talent's not going to listen to me if I'm just here by myself. So it's trying to figure out how do you make this own road. You hear Issa Rae or you hear Oprah say, like, if you don't see yourself, write it for yourself. I mean, that sounds great, but it's like, how do you actually get that to happen? Because we know a lot of people that have stories and, have voices and things that they want to say, but can't be heard. And that, I would say, is the challenge that I still go through, every day. But I think that you do have to lean on your network, which is what I had said, at the top of this panel, because you don't realize how many people just know people. The more that you're talking, and I always make it a practice to say in any space what it is that I'm working on and what it is that I need. And I'm so surprised by who is like, oh, well, I actually know this person. Let me, help you out. We'll be at happy hour. The girls, we were in Martha's Vineyard this summer. Every person that came in the house, I said, I'm raising $1 million. I need it by the end of the year. I said it to every single person that came into the room. I had a meeting with someone at JP Morgan Stanley the next week, just from saying it out loud. So it's voicing what you need, what you're looking for at any opportunity, and that's how it's helped me kind of get through this. But still, it's still a battle every day, for sure.
I would like to add one more thing, because I did mention fundraising, because I knew that would be everybody's struggle with money. But a kind of a twist on my company, being in the travel industry, education is also a piece that can throw you off the trajectory, and just bringing awareness, because and always just kind of reminding yourself of your why, and kind of, not letting anybody steer you off your path, because eventually you'll get to your end goal. And so with my company, we focus on Africa travel. I've traveled to half of the world's countries, but I'm an expert in Africa travel. And a lot of people will say, well, why would we ever want to go to Africa? And we actually have a hashtag called Reimagine Africa. We're trying to get people to change the way they see Africa, because I believe when you do that, you'll change the way you also see yourself. But that is hard in business when you're thinking about sales and trying to hit profit goals. You and other people are saying, well, you could sell out trips to Italy and Thailand and things like that, which I could, but my focus is on Africa. I want more black people to travel to Africa and have an incredible time. And so just sticking to that goal, I have to do a lot of awareness and education around how amazing it truly is, and kind of changing the narrative of what we might see in mainstream media about Africa. It's all a lie, no?
Well, I go to Uganda a lot, because I'm Ugandan and Texan. They're all American. And so when I go to Uganda, we live in a different part. My father has a swimming pool and a villa and all that kind of great stuff. So people are like, you're going to Uganda? I'm like, yeah. They'll think of something.
Kampala's amazing.
Yes.
Ginger,
yes.
it's amazing.
And like Belogo, like all those different places. And so it's like that, they live like the Highland Park or the Beverly Hills of Uganda. If they didn't know that's how it looks, like, yeah, that's how it looks. You do look like. So I think it's about also finding synergy about, I can give you his contact information.
That would be amazing. See, we have a network.
He's one of the ambassadors. He's a senator there.
Everything's worth it now.
Yeah. But that's really important, because you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. So exposure is important. So while I'm trying to expose people to how beautiful the entire continent is, we're also here, thanks to Yancy, trying to expose students and young alumni to how important networking is. And just, you don't know what you don't know until you ask the question and you make it known, like my sister over to my right said. You just state it and you show it and you expose people and you share your knowledge, because knowledge is power.
All right, so I just want to ask one more question, and then we're going to go to the Q&A portion, get an opportunity for everybody to speak. But I know for myself, I think that it was always good to learn from other people. So I know I graduated from Hampton University, as all of us did, but a lot of us decided to go further out of education at other places. I decided to go to ODU. I decided to go to ODU because I was still running my business here, and I wanted to expand my network by going to a different school. So I went to ODU. So the question is, for those who did further education, where did you decide to go, and what went into your decision to go to that particular school?
I'm a graduate of Mary Medical College. I wanted to go to a university that, at that time for, of course, for medicine, I had this, again, this structure and this checking out the boxes and making sure that everything kind of flowed. When I arrived there, I noticed, I was like, wow, this is different, you know? But medicine and healthcare and all that kind of good stuff is totally different than wine and spirits because it's not the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, I currently go to Duke right now. I'm in the second year in the MBA program. I mean, my reasoning for going to grad school to get my MBA, one, it was to stabilize my nonprofit. Two, was to launch my new venture. And I knew that it was hard to do it while working in investment banking, but while at school I would have the ability to do that. And I mean, for me, I was only applied to 4 schools, and if I didn't get into any, it wasn't worth me going to these schools. So I applied to Duke, Harvard, Wharton, and Stanford. I was on the wait list for Stanford, and then I got love from Duke. So it made, and I had reasons for those schools: leverage the resources, leverage the brand, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and then that was pretty much the reason going. So, and one thing I can actually say, because I deal with a lot of undergrads, especially, I mean, there's probably like 5% black. You know what I'm saying? And the undergraduate students that I do see that are black, and it reminds me if I ever have like kids to be conscientious of, like if they don't, and it, like I already, because I grew up in a black neighborhood, like in DC, so my identity of black was just ubiquitous. It was everywhere. But I've seen students that undergraduate students that are black, and I feel like, and when I talk to them, I mean, they probably went private school, all white neighborhood, everything, and I feel like even going to PWI with that is, I can see how like, I feel like I can see some struggles that they're still looking like they're dealing with, and I was like, wow, at least if they would have at least had the opportunity in undergrad to at least be around their people for a long period of time, because they've like never really had it except for their internal family, that I felt like it would have been a much better benefit for them in that way. Just seeing other undergraduate students from other schools now, from a different perspective, I kind of see how I can kind of set them back in some ways, just observing that.
So I decided to go to Columbia right after Hampton University, but I didn't make that decision on my own. I actually wanted to start working, but I had a professor here who was an amazing mentor, still is my mentor to this day, and he told me about an HBCU fellowship program, which I encourage everyone, if you're still a student, to look into it. You can go to Columbia, it's an Ivy League in New York, for a full ride. An amazing program. They give you speaking events, they give you a mentoring program, internships, great program. I didn't get the fellowship, but I still did get into the university. So that's why I went. And I really feel like it was God placing me there, because that's where I launched my nonprofit. That's where I made all my connections that taught me how to brand yourself, how to make money in a nonprofit, how to make 6 figures, and still be profitable and still be a great person in society. That's why I went, and that was the greatest experience ever. I thought I was gonna be a minority there, but turns out Caucasian people are the minority at Columbia too. So it was just really different. I loved it, and I had an amazing time.
Anybody else? Good. All right. Open up the questions. I know my big bro, I gotta pay homage. He has a question.
So I know we're gonna wrap up and we'll start a question and answer, but you know, as I sat through the first panel and I sat through this panel, I see a lot of dots connected, right, between industry and where people work. So my question is really about, you know, the Hampton connection and the Hampton network. Have you leveraged the Hampton network in your field? And if so, how? And then if you haven't, then maybe you want to spend on maybe what can we do as alumni university? Because you know that's really how the mentorship panel kind of came about. You know, conversation a couple years ago about Howard, which is deep in film, and Hampton, which is all over. But are we really speaking as one voice as Hamptonians? So if you just kind of talk about, you know, how you've leveraged if you have.
So funny, because I had an interview in New York like not too long ago, and in the interview on a TV show, I was telling them the first time I ever became aware of Wall Street. I used to stay in Harlem South my freshman year. I remember like, the second month in 4th floor north. So I remember the second month in, one Hampton alone. And I never uttered the word stock market or anything my whole life. And you worked at Goldman Sachs. First time ever hearing about any financial markets or company. And when he mentioned it, he mentioned what he did, and I was like, okay, so like I'm strong with numbers, and I like business, and then that's how it got me thinking. So if he didn't speak, this is my second month in school. He came to Hawkins Hall, And I actually had interviews with Goldman Sachs later on, but that was the first time. And I thought that was actually powerful. I never really seen it replicated before. But a lot of people, especially that come to school, have no awareness of certain industries. And he just came down to show love and then say, like, this is what I do, you know. And I thought that was profound. I still remember that to this day, because that's when I was even became a world boss. Just his little conversation coming to Harvard Hall, talking to like 12 of us. So, I mean, I don't know if Hampton does that often. I feel like they should maybe, you know, have that happen often and stuff like that. But I want to highlight that.
I think Hampton has done a great job of like that Hampton connection. When you see somebody or you bring it up, they'll go above and beyond for you if you kind of know. And I make it a point all the time in my conversation to somehow bring it up, like, yeah, it really is sunny outside. And Hampton, it was really sunny. Like, even literally, I was in the line yesterday trying to shop, and I just saw this lady getting clothes, and I was like, oh, you getting ready for homecoming? And she was like, no, so she probably didn't go to HBCU. And because she was like shocked by it. She wasn't like, oh no, my homecoming was last weekend. But anyway, I literally was setting it up to be like, to further see, like, did you possibly go to Hampton? Because I run into Hampton in DC all the time. But so I think we do a really good job of, once you know, we'll do whatever it needs, whatever it takes. But I don't know if we do a good enough job with just having the network kind of in a place. I think you were even asking about where you can just go. The 40 under 40 class is new, so we were in the inaugural class and we're still trying to build and make it better every year. But even then, it's trying to connect with each other. Even when it's a smaller group, it seems to be a challenge. Just trying to figure out how can we leverage, you know, technology to be able to actually pinpoint somebody who's in your industry that you can help and also be helped from.
I would say, to pinpoint off of what both of you guys said, like, I think it's kind of like a postgraduate epiphany. Like, once people become alum, then they start putting themselves out there a little bit more and start realizing like their purpose, and then that's how things start to like gravitate towards you. Like, it's kind of weird how many Hampton alum are actually really around. Like, you won't know it because you don't search for it, but once you start putting yourself out there and you start shooting for your goals and what you're trying to do, you start running into people, but it starts to become ironic when you start running into people that are Hampton alum. So I know with being a senior and being in Hampton for these 4 years and being very active, it's like we search for it and we look for it, but we're always constantly networking with each other. And we're always looking for you guys, but we don't have anything to like latch onto because a lot of us don't even realize the purpose or like the statements that we can make until after we get out of Hampton. So I think it's more so of realizing that we have an impact 365, not just homecoming, not just spring fest, not just 100 days, not just whenever your class reunion is, but like there are always people after me, after you, that are looking for that connect to answer your question as far as like what we can do differently, but like know that you can never stop. It's never just one time, it's always a time, and it's so many people to take one chance. You could do something one day out the year, Yancy would do something one day out the year, and it's still over like 200,000 alumni that can do something differently, that can give us an opportunity. All we really want is a conversation to spark some type of creativity within ourselves. All we need is a panel discussion and stuff like that, but like a lot of us, and to take control over the majority, we need it when everybody else isn't distracted. It's homecoming. We're all here, but it's literally over 1,000 other people getting drunk right now. Although they're getting drunk, they all want this opportunity and this experience, but it's only this one time throughout the entire year where we can determine or decide where, do I want to go further my future and get better and listen to a panel, or do I just want to take this college moment or this college experience? But when you kind of corner people into coming in November or December where none of us are distracted or occupied and still giving us the same opportunity, it grabs a lot more like attention to people. So like a lot of us are interested in trying to be in the position that you're in today, but a lot of us don't have the discipline to do so.
Anybody else have a question?
I love what you said. I love what you said.
I do too. I really do too. I love it.
We got one right here.
Yes.
Wait, here, go ahead.
currently a senior here at Hampton University. I'm in the Founding Media program. My question is there a certain aspect in life that you felt like Hampton didn't prepare you for, whether that be in professional career or just with you personally?
I mean, just especially being a 5-year MBA, what are you like mainly focusing on want to do right afterwards?
I'm interested in going into consulting.
Okay.
My focus so far has been finance and accounting.
So I was an account major, and I was remember talking to my, well, he was a year before me, Chris Malone, and he worked on Wall Street as well, and he went to Harvard Business School close afterwards. We felt like one thing Hampton didn't do from a business standpoint, especially Wall Street, is teach like leverage style modeling or financial modeling. So like a hard technical skill, we felt like the B school, I said B school, Hampton, it didn't really prepare for that when it came to that. And we talked to Dean Craig on some others about like really developing that skill set, because it does set back, particularly in Wall Street. Because I mean, there's back office positions, but if you do want those front office positions, then you do need those skill sets. So speaking from like what I didn't really teach them that in, but you still can navigate and get in. But when you're there, you got to learn quickly on the spot. But a lot of the other schools, and like Howard and Morehouse, they're actually like have classes where they really prep for that. When we went to Hampton, it didn't have that. So just speaking within the business context of Hampton, it didn't really prepare for that.
I have a question. What is it? I have two questions. I have a question in terms of structure and streamlining and being able to put the resources and relationships together. It seems like it needs to be a model for that. And so how do we have a pipeline between the school, the dean, the chair people, and all that kind of good stuff, and with the people who are entrepreneurs to come back, or people who are VPs, or people who are already in industry to come back to the school and let them know what's going on within the industry so they can better prepare the next generation to come into the space?
I would say network with an on-campus student. So like the difference in between networking with like administration and staff, you can network with them, but they're really all only connected to other administration and staff, and probably one or two other students. Versus connecting with a student, they're connected with a lot of different administration and staff and leaders because they're probably in an organization or they're in a club or something like that. So I would say actually connecting with the younger community and using them to spread throughout the older community versus the other type of way versus connecting to the older community, trying to filter to the young community, it's not as efficient.
Because I wonder how often that the professors get to go and actually, like I know like if you're in secondary education, you have to go to programs all the time to stay fresh and know what's going on. How often do the professors get to go and actually see what's going on that's current to help the students? And what's the, you know, the caveats or anything that keeps them to get to space where they can do those kind of things? Like if gentlemen there not come back for finance, how would you know that? Like if you know at Harvard Business School they do this and so on and so forth, and you're at Duke, how would you be able to give that information out?
No, I know, like, because I was in New York 10 years straight after graduating from Hampton. 3 weeks afterwards, I started working. I know that, and I don't know if they still do it now, but the students that were like seniors that are going to be moving to New York, they would tell the alum in New York, like, and have them reach out, or they have our contact information depending on what sector that they're in. So I know my, years in New York, they like would know. I don't know how it worked, but they would know the Hamptonians that are moving to New York and kind of connect them to us. So.
Like a think tank. Do we have a think tank on campus? Do we have anything that can actually? I like outcomes and be able to think about it and be able to go from striving to thriving. Because right now it's like it's surviving. And so I think that in essence, how can we get together to have like a think tank so there could be an ongoing conversation, to go back to your point, to have ongoing opportunities for the alumni to come on campus and to have a conversation with administrators or have someone within that department from a student and from an alumni within that department.
And basically as an
advocate.
As a more recent alumni, I'm trying to just touch the students. Similar sentiments to you, my senior year, I don't know what I wanted to do, but there were people who came from, PwC or other, big consulting firms who would come down and basically say, if you want a job, come here if your grades are right. And I really talk to you about taking that next step. So I know for me personally, in filmmaking, I want to bring one of my films down here in Hampton in springtime. for free for students, just so they know that, hey, he went to school here, he knows the ins and outs of this administration and the things that can just, be frustrating at times, but you still do it and use those Hampton qualities to, push yourself forward in the professional world and in, in personal world. So like doing things like that will hopefully leverage more alumni to come back and say, hey, besides representing this big company, whether it's McKinsey or Deloitte, to say, hey, want a job, come here. More so, talk to student leaders on the weekends, talk to people, before homecoming, before Spring Fest, kind of those off weekends, catch people on guard, but also for the students to, take burnt off within themselves and, actually say, I want to do this. Because we can all come here for the resources, but you can't actually, lead a horse to the water, and have them drink the water. You can lead them there, but have them drink it. So in order for us to come down and feel like, this was worth it for, giving our knowledge or perspective or time back to the students, it has to reciprocate both from whether that's a administrative thing or it's more the alumni thing as well, but it's an effort on all parts.
Yeah, that was, go ahead, Tim.
Well, first, I wanted to say I'm very inspired by this panel, this one and the one that was right before this one. I want to congratulate everyone, and even people in the audience who are up here, who are doing great things and giving back. And to Nice, who's up here as a senior, saying way to represent. But I kind of want to make this question for the alumni on the panel, maybe even people who are in the audience. Nice and others said it would be good if we would come back at a time when it's not homecoming. For people who have the flexibility in their schedules, is that something we would be willing to do? And to Nice, what time period is that? It can't be around midterms or finals and stuff like that, but can we talk about that as a possibility? And I don't know, Yancy, since you're the
I can add a little insight on that, only because I've done it a few times already. Definitely, you definitely have to take the initiative as an alumni to do it, and it could be done. Some departments are a little bit harder than others. I would say the first avenue that was easier for me as a former student leader was the student leaders, because they have their every Saturday event that they had when we were student leaders, the once a month every Saturday. So I was able to just plug myself into that one right away, like jumped right in, can I speak? And they gave me like a whole list of the available months to do it, and I came and did it. After that, when it came to I wanted to speak at University One-on-One. Give an example. So I said it might have been April. I said I want to speak at the first University One-on-One class coming September. And like, oh, it's so far away. All right, but I know you guys plan ahead. Right? You're saying it's so far away now, and then what's going to happen. So by the time July came around, they were like, oh, okay, you're booked to speak at University One-on-One. Then all of a sudden August came and was like, oh, I found somebody else. You can speak the Wednesday. They have an all males University One-on-One. So I said, all right, well, I'll do that. The minute I got to campus for that week, and Sianni was there as well, we was able to get about like 10 different speaking events throughout the campus. And that was just from walking around and actually going to the places like, listen, I'm here and I want to speak at your class. And and I just want to touch on the Buckman situation. And it was kind of weird with Buckman because I went in there, I spoke to the dean, and I got an appointment, which is hard in itself. I got the appointment and I said I wanted to speak at their class on Wednesdays. IEP with LAP. And so I want to speak at the LAP class, and she said something to the effect of, so to speak in front of my students will require you to come out your pocket. And I was like, what? She's the only person that said that though. Every other person was really decent, but she basically was implying that I would have to pay the department in order to speak in front of the class, and I thought that was kind of weird because, as an alum, I just wanted to let them know, my experiences as an alum, and it wasn't that I was, trying to, give out job opportunities. I just wanted to give my experiences, in the field, but besides for that, I was able to go into pretty much every other area, S&T, and get speaking events, even honors. I was in part of honors college, and we spoke in honors college classes.
Next time you tell her that you'll waive your fee. Tell her that you'll waive your standard fee.
Yeah, right?
That part. That part.
So anyway, so that's the one experience that I got, you know. But I would say that when it comes to alum, it's there. It can be done. It can definitely be done, and people will be open to it. If I was there for a little bit longer, I think that it would have, as far as timing goes, like had it been not the first couple weeks of school, it would have been a little bit easier to promote it and get it out there. There's like a day after Labor Day, you know, so that was a little bit hard, but we still got a lot done. Like it was like to do that within 3 days. We got about 500 names of freshmen just going to the university one-on-one class. Like we was able to get it done by physically being there. You know, the phone calls were a little hard, the emails were a little hard, but you know, Hampton runaround. We found different ways to get it, and we got it done.
I was to answer your question before I have to head out. As far as what y'all could do differently, like the key factor times are not the time to push the event. I would say that's the time to like market it, because we're kids. We're trying to market our stuff as students so we can get our leverage up that way. So I feel like as far as like alum or like business professionals, use that time just to market, just to network. So that when you come around where we're basically like laying down, falling back, or not really like promoting anything, that's when like y'all come in and really implement you guys' purpose. Like homecoming, spring fest, parents weekend, stuff like that. Those are all super significant times in the Hampton schedule that everybody is preparing for. You guys have something really meaningful and purpose to give to the campus. So you want to make sure that all the attention is on what you're doing. So don't try and get everyone's attention when everyone's attention is in 5 or 10 different places. Homecoming right now is what I'm trying to do, like as far as with the PRSSA Association, like I'm trying to get them to gather experiences throughout the homecoming week. So for next week or 2 weeks after homecoming week, everybody's just still thinking about homecoming, but we have that experience to recap it and bring you back to that moment and make you recreate that experience so you don't miss it as much. You know, so it's just kind of just playing off perspective. You guys are alum, so you guys don't have to play on the schedule as much as we do. It's on your timing. We're looking up to you. We're trying to do exactly what you guys are doing. So don't move on our schedule, because we're moving on our schedule. When you create your own schedule, it gives us something to do in the in-between.
Can you tell us your social media, like your voice is so
Thank you.
powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
If you want to, but
So,
tell us what it is.
thank you. So I'm gonna introduce my brand and what I've been sharing to Yancy the past couple of months. My name on Instagram is Not So Nice, and I spell nice N-A-I-S. My name is Muslim Nailah Sutherland, so that's kind of where I got the spelling from. I actually do stuff on the weeks as far as like focuses, daily focuses. This week was A-game discipline, just as far as having discipline and making your next move your best move, and knowing how to like encounter things and still stick to your own moral ethics code. So I try to use my voice and my purpose for that. So if y'all can't follow me on Instagram at Not So Nice, it gets deeper than this, and it's all thanks to Yancy.
Hey, Amy, I know, so I talked to the first group, just kind of said, you know, purpose and really where we're trying to go with this. So, you know, we did the panel, you know, started with the music panel, we wanted to expand this to not just music this year. And really where we want to go with 40 to 40, but really university is a wide look and try to connect mentors to mentees. And so I've reached out and talked to the director of the Career Center. And so I think we're going to see it in you know, this time next year, there will be the status program. So that's really where the mentorship of 40 to 40 is going. Working directly with the Career Center, developing a repository, something I talked to her about, something she had a blueprint for, but it hadn't been implemented. And so we're going to probably dust off that blueprint, see what we can do. And I think that's what we're missing. We talk about data, information, how do you connect, what does that look like? And then that way we can connect students, university, you know, if you're about to graduate, you know where you're going. And I really think this could be, you know, it's starting with a panel, but it really could be a lot bigger than this. When we look at connecting Hampton University, I mean, so we can take over the world. So.
I think it's a symposium. I think it's a conference. I think it's a movement to be able to have a pipeline and use different models that are already proven out there to make it happen for the students. We can continue to
Exactly.
water the grass.
Exactly.
I mean, I would say the university is open to it more than I noticed, especially like I said, like the University 101, like having everybody in that chapel. When we was able to go in there, speak even for 5 minutes, like everybody was there. The whole freshman class was right there. We're just in 30 seconds was good, and that's all we needed, you know. So imagine if we had 50 minutes as a panel to speak, for the freshman class. I think that would be that's a good option. To kind of catch them where they're required to be, and then they'll get the information from there, like that, it works. So, and then also social media works too, give them opportunities to follow you and, see what's popping for them, it works, that works as well. All right, any other questions? Like I said, we're trying to stay true to.
Do you know if the university has like a universal hashtag that they want both undergraduates and alumni to use to promote, different events that they're doing? So in terms of connecting alums with students and everyone else with the things that we're doing, we have our own social media presence.
Right. I don't know if we have a universal hashtag, but it's something that could be found out. We can definitely find that out. And like I said before, Brandon, when you stepped out, and me and Amy were talking about that, the university, as I went to navigate through the website, I noticed that they had like their own, like almost Facebook in it, but you have to find it. It's too difficult to find where they want to know, do you want to be a mentor? You click yes or no. They ask you what state are you in, and I filled the whole thing out, and I haven't been contacted back about it, but they do have something set up for it. It is there, and I'm not sure if it's through the Career Center, but I found it. I did find it, and it is there, and I found it by mistake. And it shouldn't be that hard,
What about that verified book that went out, like once upon a time, verified? I remember seeing that book, and you put your information in there, and you paid this money, and it was like a directory, and I'm like, that directory could be like the Up the Hill book, because I remember, I grew up in J&J, and so you had like an Up the Hill book, and you open it up, what university someone went to, and then you become connected that way. I'm talking about like something that's like a living, breathing type of space that we could be able to, I don't care if it's like a Facebook, something that can be used, that we can be able to know what each other are doing.
I know.
There's a current student creating a website for specific things like this. So for mentorship for students that have a trade that can offer to other students. So it'll be like an Angie's List for Hampton University's campus, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so where you can go onto it, what is that?
That person's name?
His name is
What's his platform called?
I can get that too. It's everything. Well, like he hasn't released it yet because it's still being developed.
Yeah, is it Join Me?
It's not Join Me.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
His father was like.
Yeah, his dad was proposing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not Join Me, but it hasn't been developed yet, so they haven't released anything out because the website team is like finalizing everything because it has to be, it's affiliated with Hampton, so it has to be like properly done. But the student did create the website.
That's awesome.
Like, as I said before, the purpose of this panel is to bridge the gap between undergrad, younger alumni, older alumni, so that we can learn from each other and build off each other when it comes to a lot of things, whether it be within our own personal lives or within the university. So every time we do an event like this, I feel like it's a success because we're learning, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do things and to strategize to get things done. Obviously, alumni come back for homecoming, but we know that as we've all been undergrad before, it may not be the best time to get the undergrad's attention or the masses of the undergrad's attention, but we can work together to do those things. And mentorship is very important to me, and it's obviously important to Brandon and everyone else that's here, because you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. We want to take a couple minutes to exchange information we can, but like I said, in the essence of time, and to enjoy the rest of homecoming, we're going to go ahead and conclude the second half of this session. Thank you very much, everybody.